himself.
It's got hearing.
Keep muting himself. Thanks to headset. He's got enough.
Yeah, baby.
I'm sure it's the worst thing they could hear.
Hey, what's going behind you?
That's true. At least you can't see it.
Well, they can't. We can.
I got 5 right here. You guys annoy me? Here we go. Couldn't give a duck. Could not give a duck. All your background noise, yeah? I move around with people, that makes all kind of innuendos. Oh yeah, I'm feeling pretty.
Tonight, Cade switches screens, Gordon says load, and I forget to wear my trousers.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Mission Control. Today we're going to have Mr. Sam and Mr. Gordon are live with us, and we were going to do the Synergy video, but due to technical reasons on this side we couldn't do that today, so we'll reschedule that and do it. I think in 2 weeks we're going to do it as a whole team thing with Avolites and go from there. So we're going to turn this into, we're going to talk a little bit about syntax, since we've got all 3 of us here, and we could just have a good old time with syntax, and we will otherwise just do kind of a free-form Q&A and have some fun with it, and go from there. So say hello, Sam and Gordon.
Hello, Sam and Gordon.
Hello, Sam and Gordon.
And ABBA.
Never forget ABBA. Never forget ABBA.
Oh, golly.
I do not expect this to be a serious stream.
Yes. Do not expect us to be serious today, as well we aren't. So, oh, golly. So how should we start off here? We're going to go straight into syntax, gentlemen?
Oh,
Yeah, if you want.
yeah. Have we reminded everyone to play the drinking game yet?
We have not yet. We will still play today's drinking game of not switching screens, but since I have Gordon and Sam to yell at me to not switch, I don't think it's going to work as well. So maybe every time we bust out laughing, they have to drink.
Which will be a lot.
People are going to die. So, but yes, we'll play the screen switching game just in case I manage to forget, like I always do. So syntax, Gordon, why don't start saying your stuff that you usually say?
Name that syntax if we're playing that game. I can do general user number syntax is something that I see a lot of people acknowledge exists, but aren't either particularly enthusiastic or particularly energized by, when all it is a case of vaguely keeping an eye on the top left-hand side of things like your groups, rather than madly trying to find where your group is or where the group might be. Certainly, I'm very stereotypical, or I'm very set in my ways in terms of programming, for the fact that my main spots are always group 1. So I can say group 1 enter, and that will grab all my group 1 spots for me. If I then say odd even, hit the odd button, then rather than me having to go into my fixtures window and make groups on groups on groups, all I've got is those fixtures right in my fingertips.
Those fingers right at your fixture tips.
Those
Fair
fingers,
enough.
yeah.
It's true. I love a bit of group syntax, just being able to throw things around without having to put my fingers on a touchscreen, because 90% of the time I end up going out without one. So it kind of is a little bit of a lifesaver when I'm forgetful.
I
Fair
totally
view.
get that point. Like I quite often travel with my mobile anytime I'm programming shows on the fly, or anytime I've got a client that doesn't want to pay for me to have the biggest, shiniest lighting desk with 100 possible screens and 1,000 possible faders. So I don't have a touchscreen laptop, and I could spend £1,000 on getting a nice shiny touchscreen laptop, or just use syntax. It's a bit of an intimidating word when you first get used to it, but it's not that bad.
It's a useful word. It's my favourite example. I had an issue with Windows where it decided to completely turn off the laptop screen during a show. If I didn't know my syntax then, that would have been a very interesting evening.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that happen to me, so well done to you, that's for sure.
It was the biggest, anus clenching moment I've ever had, but the show ran and I just carried on.
Yeah, fair dues.
So what is it with the, because I always forget to do this, the same thing we teach in the classes, which I have to reread every time we go to teach it because I managed to forget it, with the basically putting a fixture overlap in through syntax.
Using timing syntax?
Yes.
Yeah. The timing syntax, if you grab yourself some extra, say 10 extra faders, grab some lights, tell them what to do, and without having to go into edit times or playback options or open/view, if you say time 3 enter, then it's going to give that cue a fade in time of 3 seconds. It kind of works the way that you would, I'd like to say, talk, because you'd instinctively kind of go, right, I want this to come in over 3 seconds. The next logical thing that you'd say is, I want this to come out over 4 seconds. And timing syntax works in exactly the same way. Only difference is we delete a couple of words in the middle. So if I say time 3 and 4, enter, then it's going to have a 3 second fade in and a 4 second fade out. But it's going to be in the programmer rather than me have to worry about it being in the middle of nowhere or it being on a palette that I might forget to use because it's sat right there. You can also change your clear button so that it doesn't necessarily get rid of these times. One of the clear options that you've got is maintain queue times or clear queue times. I've got one theatre designer, director that I quite often work with who insists everything until further notice has a 3 second fade in and a 3 second fade out.
Oh, yes.
So I'll say time 3 and 3, enter. I'll change my clear button to leave those times in there and I won't do anything else.
Lifesaver.
Yeah, definitely.
We get that question quite a lot. How do you stick a 1 second fade time into a load of queues? Well, there you go. There's your answer.
Yeah.
It makes it that much easier, and if you force yourself to think in terms of the button presses, it makes sense because your clear button gets rid of stuff from your programmer, and you going right clear button. I do not want you to do that, so you hold it down, and one of the options right there is maintain queue times.
Yeah.
The build that you can get with that is if you get a bit more specific with the syntax itself. So if you say time. In fact, you've already got some fixtures selected.
Yep.
If you say time fixture, then rather than for the whole queue, you're specifying, you're telling the console that you want some times to affect the fixtures that you have selected. So it might be that you want your spots to come in the normal queue time, but you want your washes to fade in over 10 seconds. So I can make my spots do something, I can make my washes do something. I can then say the time for these fixtures that I have to be 4, enter.
Yeah.
Now, the spots will pay attention to their normal queue times exactly as they've been told. They won't do anything weird or snap in. But those washes, those ones that I had selected, will come in over 4 seconds. The only thing with this timing syntax is it likes an enter button. So where some consoles you might be used to typing in massive long instructions that are 100 pages and you couldn't read them in any conventional form of language at all. Avo, it kind of works in some more simple instructions. So you could say, these time fixture for enter.
It's like a sentence.
Yeah.
It's like building a paragraph out of sentences per fixture, essentially.
And it's the only time that I ever see people fall down with it is they'll suddenly go at 100 miles an hour and they'll go, all right, I shall program 100 times simultaneously without pressing enter. And Avo, you've got that safety measure. You can press enter and you can go, right, cool. I'll have a breather. I'll have a sip of my coffee. I'll tackle the next thing.
It's nice to be able to see what you've done as well.
There we go.
Once you've hit that enter button, you can see what you've stuck in.
Yeah, right up there in the prompt area. Yeah.
Mm.
So you can actually pay attention to what you've done instead of smashing through mindlessly and getting forgetful and realizing you've put maybe a 400-second fade time instead of a 40-second fade time.
Right.
Oh, not that you've ever done that before.
No, absolutely not. I've never had that issue, and I've never waited for nearly 10 minutes for fixtures to move into place.
That would be a most pain in the butt there.
Even worse if I'd stuck an at key in there and I was just waiting solidly for a 400-second delay, let alone a fade.
So what with the I know we can put overlap in through that way too, can't we? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Totally. The same way that if you say one number, it'll do one thing. If you say a range of numbers, it will do a range of things. So I could say the time for these fixtures, and rather than 4, I want the first one to come up in 1 second and the last one to come up in 4 seconds. So rather than say 4 and then go into open/view and dial it all in, I'm just going to say time fixture 1 through 4, enter. And the console is going to spread that range of times out across my fixture order for me so that I don't have to.
It's a very accurate way of doing those fixture overlaps. If you know exactly your timing measurements, you can stick that straight in, divide it down beautifully across that group, and you haven't had to worry.
I'm going to put that on my CV. Sam Parry says that I have accurate fixture overlap methods.
I'm going to say you're part of the village people.
Oh, yes.
Oh, what a night. Have we mentioned you can do all of that fun stuff with individual attributes as well as just fixtures?
We haven't, but would you like to?
Yeah. You're talking, so you might as well carry on. But you know,
no, you carry on.
You keep dancing in the background. It's fine.
Yes, but
exactly as Gordon has just been saying, you can see Kate has thrown that in. If you're dealing with a group of fixtures and you want a very specific attribute to have its fade or delay over X amount of time, you can go right ahead and pick one of those attributes. Go ahead and hit times, fixture, intensity, 1 through whatever, and enter, and you've still got all that information straight in the programmer, but you're kind of specifying exactly what thing you want that fade to deal with. I really hate you tonight.
No, he's killing me too. Oh, I should have made it so we could put the.
We should. Oh, man.
So I can put the video of you guys up just to so everyone else understands the utter silliness that we currently have going on.
For the poor people watching just the Titan interface, they must just be in completely
confused. Yes.
Probably not a bad thing.
No, but timing syntax, the second I see people when they start using it get their brains too focused on it, they tend to complicate it more than they need to do. And you can see just on the left-hand side of Cade's screen there that there's even a guide sheet that comes up with that timing syntax. As soon as you say time and then a number, you get the set of instructions listed on the console, whether it be a Sapphire with 45 touchscreens attached or whether it be a Titan Go on a live stream. So if you're scared of it or you're worried by it, you can have a little look down that sheet and you go, nope, that one's not for me. Nope, that one's not for me. Ah, that one's for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if we're on if we're on a regular console, it would be in your context menu area just here to the left of soft keys B and C, just for anybody who's not positive where that would be moved to.
It takes over that whole space on the console screen, which is kind of handy because if you're typing in some timing syntax, you won't be doing anything else with it.
Quite.
Nice question from Iro, just throwing it in. He said, if you've got maintain queue times in the clear turned on, there a quick way to clear those times, which is quite a decent question.
So if we turn it on, we wanted to clear it without changing that option.
There's two ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that I tend to go to is holding down the clear button and just flipping the mask around.
Yeah.
You'll see if you hold down the clear button, even the times button on that numeric keypad lights up, and that means that you can put it in and you can take it out of any masks that you want just by either selecting or deselecting that button. So if you hit record, you'll see the LED on the times button lights up because it's going to record time information by default. But if I say record and then I tap the time button, it's the same as any other attribute. It's just for the console. So you can drop it in just as quickly as you can take it out.
I guess that's a bit of a contextual thing, isn't it? If you know you're going to be living in that maintaining queue times for forever, then go with that. If you are dealing with a mask, then that's a bit of an easier way to chop in, chop out than be going into those deeper clear options.
Yeah.
All the years that I've been using it, I've never wanted to hot swap that quickly in between clearing and not clearing, clearing, not clearing.
And you are the king of theatre.
Oh, definitely.
And white kimonos, apparently.
So what else we got for questions out there, folks? Oh, hello, Mr. Rubin. Hello, Fran.
We've got a good bunch of people on here, so hopefully some questions are going to start flooding in.
Definitely.
So we poked around with that syntax enough for now until someone asks another question about it. Let's get some other questions from you there, folks.
While people are writing in, that timing syntax will work backwards as well as forwards. So if you said time 1 through 4, enter, and you change your mind and you go, actually, I want those fixtures to be the other way around, you could say time fixture 4 through 1. It's always going to take the fixture order that you've got inside the groups, but you can work it backwards just as quickly as you can work it forwards.
That's quite a question I've had a few times in academy trainings, is making something like a queue list where they've got the fixtures fading in over one overlap and then going back out either the same way or another way. And that's quite a sensible way of making that happen quite quickly.
If you're working on a little show and you want really quite a powerful, very quick visual effect, say you got 10 fixtures across the back of your stage. If I make a group with all of those 10 fixtures and I say grab all the odd ones 1 through 4, grab all the even ones, say 4 through 1, then it almost looks like a random thing, because rather than them just all coming in left to right, you'll see pop, 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 pop into the center, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can do with it. I think people are often a little bit scared of timings and timing syntax until they've had a real sort of sit down and proper play with it. There's not a lot to be afraid of. It's just kind of taking a few moments and thinking about it logically, and once you've got that sort of sentence structure in your head, it kind of starts flowing.
True. Trying to get it so I can get you guys up on there, but it's not letting me right now. You guys are lucky. It won't let me put up the Teams view right now, at least through that one. So what was it with Ruben there? I would love for you to grab a couple of fixtures, record a few positions, then edit the capture settings on like 3 random fixtures to rotate them, and so then update the offset. So basically to show update of offset.
Oh, that's an interesting one. We don't get that often.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's. I'm actually going to load up a different show file. It'll make this a little easier to see. So let's go disk load show, and then my cage show, as I like to call it.
Everyone needs a cage show, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Everyone wants a cage show. Nice
so we've got.
Faces popping in. It's good.
So we've got here just the BMFLs all in a line. And we've already got some preset palettes made here, so I'm not going to bother making them, Ruben, because I'm going to be lazy like that. We can see that we got one that points all like that. So we then take, let's go to our fixtures and groups. Select this one, and this one. And then go to Wheels Equal Visualizer. And go to Position, Orientation. And we'll just straight up turn them 90 degrees off. So I'll go full on with it, right? So now if we go back to, I think this workspace. No, go to that one. Oh no, am I glad I can't see the window right now?
Somebody's got sausage fingers.
Yes. So we hit locate now, and then we try to go to the same position. We can see that we got three fixtures that are off into La La Land there. And that was one mistake. I didn't pay attention to which fixtures I picked.
Stunning.
So that one. Nope, not that one. Yep, that one.
Avo back, and walk away.
Yeah, it's more fun to figure out which ones. It's these 3. So then if I went and I panned them, that's about the right. That looks about right now, doesn't it? And then, oh golly, brain fart on where I can update offset it's under clear, can't I?
Oh, are we going to tell him?
Oh, he's having a brain. Oh, dang it. The brain fart. Locate.
Folks,
duh. Under
drinks,
locate menu. Right clear on the locate. There we go. Golly. No. Why am I brain farting this completely out of here, gentlemen? And you guys are just laughing at me like a bunch of girls.
Well, having this amount of downtime, it's an opportunity for everybody to learn something new.
It really is for me to remember where keys are on the console right now, because I am having a complete and utter just lack of everything here. Golly,
we've broken you already. How many minutes are we in? It's 20 minutes and we've broken him.
I just should have known it was going to happen.
I mean, while you're trying to find that button, I will recount, at least briefly, one of my, I think, earliest
story time.
Yeah.
It's story time, people. It's story time.
Do you remember, probably just over a year ago now, that one night in Sheffield?
Finish the story.
I mean, yeah. I had a very interesting club night in with the guys in Sheffield Uni. If any of you are watching, hello, I'm still here. I survived. That club rig has a bunch of Martin MH5s in the rig, and they've been there quite a while. I remember going in and working with those guys, building some position pallets up, and it was, I think, pretty much the first thing they mentioned to me when I walked in with the console. They were like, these MH5s have never been lined up. They've always been slightly out of line, and there were three columns of 3, so in a nice square, and just 2 of them were maybe 3 inches just out of being nicely centered up. And updating the offset was one of those things where they just looked at me and went, "We hate you, but we quite like that." So it is a thing. It is a useful thing in a genuinely practical term.
So I'm completely losing here. All right, remind me where it is, because I'm not. It's not coming to my brain today.
I'm tapping the boss in. You can do that one.
What am I doing?
Remind me where the heck the update offset is, because I'm not remembering right now at all, and I don't know why.
Record locate.
If you've got something in your programmer, you can hit record locate, and then you'll have an update offset on soft key C.
Dang it! That's right. Record, then locate, then update offset. Now hit clear. See if I select them and locate them. Oops, what the hell?
I like being about 3 seconds behind on the stream.
I mean, cool story.
Thank you.
Anytime.
I completely botched this up, apparently.
Well, you could fix it. We could go in and fix it as well.
Oh,
It's true. We could make use of our other secret syntax inside Avolites as well to fix it.
Yeah.
Use that beautiful select if that we all know where the button is vaguely, but we all never use because that's got a syntax as well.
Cheat and use.
I wish people could see the camera feeds right now that I'm seeing.
Yes, quite. So I disabled backed into everything, so I backed myself out of it.
There you go. You've got some stuff in your programmer.
Yeah.
Happy days. You've got some fixtures selected. So at this point, record, locate, and soft key C rather than soft key B.
Oh, but isn't it was supposed to update for that palette? I think that's where I'm screwing it up. Because if I do this and then reselect them all, it's keeping those locate value where we had them, not updating the offset with using that palette. That's where I'm jacking it up.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I'm doing wrong.
Mr. Dooley jumping in with a bit of I use selective and all my dimmer faders to grab my groups. Interesting.
Nice. Yeah. It's when,
solid use of that.
Totally. When group masters came out and everyone started putting them on every available fader, there was a lot of like, oh yeah, so I've got a group master, but just for these 2 spots. I've got a group master for these 2 spots, and they'd have those 2 spots programmed into 10 different playbacks.
Yeah.
They'd go through changing their key profile and this, that, and the other so that they could grab hold of those at a moment's notice. And if you, on this Titan Go interface, just underneath the update button on those instruction or function buttons, you've got a button that says selective. If I say selective and hit a playback, then it's going to select if any lights are inside that playback. It's not going to do anything else or put stuff into a programmer, but it's just going to select those lights for me so that I can have that extra fader for some kind of jazzy rainbow type shape generator effect.
You would put a rainbow on it.
I would put a rainbow on it. Entirely correct.
I've got Cage sticking green on everything, and I've got you sticking rainbows on everything. Every night of the week. And that beautiful transition back to the village people. Just at the end of that. That was very well timed.
Thanks. Anyone who hasn't seen selective coming out or existing in the console before, there's a guide sheet that pops up with that as well. As soon as you say selective on the console, far left-hand side of the Titan Go interface, or just underneath the context menu or next to the context menu for anything larger than a Titan Go, you'll see a little guide sheet that comes up, so you can select if any fixtures are in between 0 and 100%, 0 and 50%, and turn them up. You can select if any lights are in between 50 and 100% brightness, and all you're doing is selecting them, so you can turn them down after that.
It is a tremendously powerful tool. It's, again, one of those things that I think people just haven't just really played with it, just don't notice half the time.
A lot of people in early versions of Titan used to use it on an hourly basis, but I mean, I'm talking version 4, version 5, and it seems to have fallen out of love with a lot of people when it's just a quick way to grab hold of stuff. Even if you're programming a little function or a little gig, you've got a tilt saw programmed in for a couple of your fixtures. If that's on a playback, rather than finding your groups and changing your workspace window, I can go, okay, this is my front of stage spots. Selective, those, blue, done.
Yeah. Nice, quick and easy grab things. Again, tell them what to do.
Totally. It's a rare opportunity where
before.
we've got 3 Academy trainers online. So if you are watching and you feel scared or you don't want to post a question, do, because I promise you we'll shut up and we'll answer it. That's for sure.
Well. You need to give us questions so we do shut up.
That's probably more true.
Yeah.
I love doing colors with select diff. So like I did here, I just recorded a quick playback, and I can just do select diff and blue, and I get all my fixtures that are blue that way. Or if I'd have done my even fixtures on this position palette and record it into here and merge it. Now I can say that was my lead singer. I could just do select diff, lead singer palette. Whoops, are you really?
It's just a good fail-safe for programming. Like,
I see it just selected those.
Go.
I had to refire the playback for it to behave correctly as I expected it to. Let's see here.
One of the big go-tos that I used to have in a past life was just going and fixing or amending or changing other people's programming. And I do not know how I would have survived without select diff, because I'd have had to go into looking at every single playback, then going into the spreadsheet view, then having a look at those user numbers, then jumping back into my fixtures window and finding those user numbers.
James asks, is there a way to save a position palette with just pan values or just tilt values? Yes. What we can do is you have to do the long record method. You can't do the short record method. So what we can do here is we can take our BMFLs and we'll locate them and we'll just tilt the heck out of them. And then we'll go to, and we'll pan them way over there. Say that all we wanted was the tilt. We could do record, palette, and then, see here, record by channel, and set mask. Oh, I know there's a way to do this. Oh, and then just do, where's off? Off, tilt off. And now, actually, we could just done a short record. Oh, no, we can still do that. And then do there. Now, if we clear it, I feel like I got something up.
You can just hit where it says tilt on that encoder wheel, and one of the soft key options you'll get is off.
Yeah, you can do it that way too, yeah. But now if we just do it, you see all they did was they panned and they didn't tilt. So again, if I locate them, and now I hit this palette, you can see the fixtures are panning. I probably should have done it the other way and done tilt, not pan. But you get the idea here, I hope, James. I'll just redo it real quick here. Oops.
Using those A, B, and C keys, again, it's one of those things, if you get into the habit of it, you almost never get out of the habit of it. It's a very, very fast, easy way of going through functions like touch, just getting something in the programmer nice and quick, sticking an exact value on something.
Yeah. I was just trying to make sure I didn't accidentally... I always try to, when I'm using the Titan Go interface, I try to make sure I'm showing it to people instead of just hitting mystery buttons on a console somewhere else. So this is one of those things I like to do. I know we can click here and get it, but sometimes people don't quite understand that. But so here we'll turn pan off this time, and I'll record palette, set master intent to disposition, and whoops, should I get the change in option? Record by channel. So yeah, that should be fine then. So now if I clear it, locate them, and fire this palette, we see we only get tilt and no pan information.
If you're ever in any doubt, open /view, having a look inside it, and you can even fix it inside that window as well, save you having to chop and change screens and re-record stuff again.
Yep. As Joanne is asking, perhaps it's there somewhere, but in the version 11 of the user manual, I'm not seeing anything on the content section that refers to syntax. Is it because it doesn't exist in the manual, or is it just hiding?
I'm literally in the V11 manual and having a look right now.
You're having a look now? Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's not. I think there's syntax in there. I just don't, like I said, I as we've all learned over these last few webinars, I'm not much of a syntax guy. I try to, that's just not my bag, man. Nothing wrong with it, just not my gig.
If it isn't certainly the main ones that I use is timing syntax and select if, and when I'm building queue lists, I'll use the record queue syntax as well. That I know you mentioned briefly on one of your other online sessions, but if you've got a queue list connected and somebody kind of goes, right, I love this, I want this to be Q43. All you have to do is think in terms of those button presses. So I could say record Q43, enter. And tighten loving an enter button, that's what's going to happen. It's going to record a Q43. Those of you who have been in a more traditional theatre, certainly in the UK, you'll know that Q999 is generally house lights up at full, stage lights up at full, everything ready to do an evac. So as soon as I'm testing my rig out, I can record Q999, maybe when I've only got Q1 and Q2 sat inside there as well.
Yeah.
So there is a selective tutorial on YouTube, I believe. If not, I will try and get it up in the next week or two. There's also a live chat session of me using timing syntax from the middle of last year as well, I think.
Yeah. I remember
Hopefully
that
using
one.
those 2 buttons, you can get started with a few things. And I'd certainly say if you've got some time to mess around, the best way to get it in your head is to mess around with it.
Yeah.
100%.
So doing a quick look in here at the manual, basically just pulling it up and searching for syntax. There's a few different, it's broken up into a couple of different sections. But if you check out pages 130, oops, trying to type here.
Yeah, I'm just going through a similar thing. Yeah, to answer your question, Joanna, it is a little bit hidden.
243, yeah, a little bit. But if you check those page numbers I just put up, 130, 113, and 243, I think it covers a good chunk of the syntax stuff. At least enough to start getting your head learned about it, and then you can attack it from there.
The way the manual's laid out, it's kind of, if you know what you want to achieve, go looking for that. So if you're looking at grab and hold of fixtures, the syntax is in there for that. If you're going ahead and looking through selecting groups or setting intensity values, they are there. They're just within that category rather than just dedicated timing.
Correct.
Ooh, what else have we got? We need more questions, folks. If I won't tell you the answer to what background has Gordon got on his webcam right now, but
No, I don't think I want to know. I can't see it right now, and I think I'm probably happy about that fact. Thomas had a question there. Can you do select if not, so i.e. find anything except for what's pointing at the lead singer, let's say? So basically do a reverse select if.
That's a good question.
that is a good
right.
question.
I haven't got a console in front of me, so we can try this out live.
Let's, okay, so if we do, let me make sure I've got a playback good to run this, to poke at this with. That'll work because we can do select if blue, or basically instead of selecting the blue fixtures, we want to select the red fixtures by not selecting the blue fixtures, right? So if we did select if,
I suspect if you can, keep an eye on your soft keys and it should appear.
yeah, so select if, select fixtures in last fired queue, select fixtures with greater than 0 intensity. Select if, maybe, I don't know. Oh, that didn't work, so let's clear it. I'm not sure if we can here.
In which case, I suspect a lot of people are going to see me on the ideas section of the website in about 10 minutes' time.
Yeah, I think that it probably should be something that would be super handy. Yeah, I'm not seeing a quick way to do that at all here.
In that case,
Because there's just not a not key for the syntax. You know what I mean? And back didn't work. I thought maybe that could do it. What if we did select if through and this. Or I wonder if you could, if we selected all the fixtures and then did select if this palette, and then or maybe like this. Let's do.
I guess at least if you're dealing with intensity, you've got that set range there. But if you are dealing with other things, then I have stuck that link in there.
Yeah, I was hoping the maybe invert would work, but that didn't work out like that.
There we go. Well, there's an ideas of features right off the bat.
There you go. Yes.
Would fixture +1 work? Back to the console, man. Back.
As he slides back over to the console, as you guys can see now. So let's do select if fixture
if you're using
+1.
the odd even all button, you grab all your odd ones, say fixture +1, it goes to all the other ones. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming ideas now.
That just bounces us through. Yeah, apparently there isn't a way to do that currently. Unless the boys have a... This is one of those times you wish you had Peter and one of them at handy to...
He'll see this yet later and just chastise us for being stupid.
Right, he'll be like, just hit this button, duh. I'm like, oh. Durr.
It's why I love Avo though, because however many years I've been using dozens of different kinds of consoles again and again and again in different ways, there's always something with an Avo, and there's a fair few consoles which, like, I got a decent reputation for mastering or being able to do anything on it that the console could do. And Avo, I mean, I've taught Titan to well north of 1,1300 people already. I haven't been working directly for Avo for that long, a couple of years now. But still, on a daily basis, somebody will go, I wondered if this is possible, but it turns out it is. You're like, yeah. So
right.
It seems like the littlest thing, but it's great because it just inspires you to press more buttons and to learn more stuff and to try more things. Select if Q3 enters, going to select if any lights are in Q3, and I didn't know that until about 6 months ago.
Huh. I don't think I've seen that one before either.
Yeah, you
Select
did.
if
Palettes and playbacks could have fade times until recently.
3. I don't know what that Q3 is on this. Let's find something that's got only... I'll make one that has only the park handle. That's what Q3 is. All right. Let's do... Really? I don't know. Sometimes.
I don't know if you've covered Cade, but on the American feed, one of the things that John Rogers showed us the other day about BPM masters. I don't want to reveal all the secrets, but have you covered that?
We did some stuff on BPM Master the other day.
We did do a chunk on that. We did go through a bit of edge sync and all that as well, which was quite useful for, I think, a few people.
And did you tackle the sneaky thing? Because if not, chucking a BPM master on this show might be kind of cool to show the 30-odd people that are watching. And
yeah, sure. We can do that one real quick. All right. I remember I sort of remember, but now I'm brain farting it out. What was it that we could do?
You can type in you can connect to a BPM master. Everyone's kind of starting to accept that.
Yeah.
But entering a number and swapping it, which is a very snazzy little thing.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I didn't do that one in my BPM master class because I slightly forgot about it, to be honest. But we can just type in a number like 120. I hit the blue button and take it straight to 120. So let's just chase even got going. There we go. Let's do playback options. Effects. Oh, sorry, I'm BPM Master 1. Hey, look at there. It's almost like I knew what I was doing for once. So we type in 14. Oops, I got to get all the way out of the playback options menu first. Let me see, this now does 14 BPM, which is super handy.
Nice little quick grab one.
Yeah. It's one of those I got to keep in my. I got to play with it enough times to remember it and be able to type it in each time and do it. Huh. Ollie was about to ask something about BPM masters.
Oh,
Look at there, Gordon's become clairvoyant in this now. He's done it so much.
Don't say that.
I can read minds. I can read minds like I can read open/view.
I was going to say throw some pallets in playbacks because that's another one that lots of people like.
It's a sneaky little thing, pallets in playbacks. Certainly, I can see where it came in the kind of Evo timeline of things when you were using experts and everyone had a bank of 10 effects for this fixture, 10 effects for this fixture, 10 effects for this fixture. Yeah. Just holding down a palette and chucking it in a playback just the once is a sneaky little trick, but it can save a lot of playbacks, especially if you're on a Titan Go or something else like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Space saving. And you can throw times on it, which is even better.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So, any other questions on the BPM Masters, Ollie, or was that just something random? Or anyone else got another question? Throw something at us. I don't want to say plump. I don't want to say stump the trainers because I think then
go for it.
I think they'll get really crazy if we give them that question.
How do you make toast with Titan?
Oh, that's simple. You bread to Parcan.
Yep. Run it on an under-spec laptop.
Right. With capture running the entire time.
I've got a tease made in my touring rack that's got a DMX switch pack on it. Like the second I fire a signal through address 510, the switch pack turns on, the toaster gets electricity, and the egg starts boiling.
Tidy. The fact that you have an egg in your touring rack is slightly concerning.
30 quid on eBay. I used to put it in at the start of the show, and then 2 minutes before the end of the show, fire that signal out of the console. And I ended up having eggs on toast during the interval.
I bet that pleased many, many colleagues.
There's so many things in this industry that are there to either make your life hard or complicate it. Then if I can use technology to make it easier, then I'm good at it.
True that.
So Andy asked if we can do the same thing with a size master, so let's find out.
Ooh, good question.
That's a good question.
So here, then we'll go here real quick and tell to listen to it, just so you can see it.
Paul's liking the BPM shortcut, so am I, and this is a new thing into my head, so I'm glad more people are enjoying it.
I just tried it off screen.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I like those things.
You can say off screen all you want, Sam. You're not on the screen.
No, definitely not on screen. And thank God, nor are you.
So can we do it with it? Now let's get to it. Can we do it with an intensity master?
Oh, it's game time, boys.
Yeah, here we go.
We'll put our grandmaster in just for the easiness there. 5-0. Yes,
James,
you can do it with a master. Wow, that could come in real handy.
I like James's Secrets of the Size Masters line there. That's a beautiful little one. I want that on a T-shirt.
The Size Masters there's often a recipe that people kind of find and get comfortable in their heads for the fact that, like, I'm quite rigid in my programming in so many ways, but I'll have one of them will be all my color stuff, and another one will be all my intensity stuff, and another one will be my position stuff. But some of the coolest shows that I've seen, they've had one for their spots, one for their washes, one for their fixtures. In terms of using secrets of Size Masters, I'm going to flip entirely on my conventional way of working and say 200, hit that one, done. I could even have a macro that's recorded, which is just 200 and that swap button.
Yeah.
Put it in any window that you want, because when you're recording macros, you can dump them anywhere that you like. Even put them in your shapes and effects window.
Yeah.
Nice little hot swap on the fly kind of things.
Yep, and that have my mic off still.
No, it's on.
It's on. So yeah, that does work. You can make a macro do it. I just did it. So if we take our size master and we set it to 50, and make this macro I just made here, boom, 200. Now that's kind of snazzy. That could come in real handy.
There we go. This is what I like to see. People taking the time to...
Innovation.
A quick way to add user numbers to macros to recall them quickly, i.e. lamp on and off.
Set legend.
You could make a macro even on the console to change a user number, but it'd be on the proviso or the reservation that there wasn't already something on the console already with that user number. Yeah. But if I say if I record a macro that taps exit twice, says set legend, taps the top left hand side group, it's not going to remember that I've grabbed hold of that all dimmer group. It's going to remember that I've grabbed hold of the top left hand side group. Yeah. So I could then hit the soft key that says user number 100, enter, and then come out of it. In terms of quick way to add user numbers to macros, there's no super quick recipe that I can think of, to be honest. Anyone else?
I mean, if you're actually going ahead and you're making a macro and you've got your user number, off by 10, I'm quite an advocate of just grabbing it from set legend and changing that user number.
Yeah.
If you know there's something you want constant quick access to all the time, one of the things I do in a load of club programming is have a macro where I've got 2 handles set that will be used for color palettes, and I'll update 2 what I call sort of default or programming palettes with no set defined color in them, and I'll use that macro live to change out colors of effects. And I know I always want to be able to grab that really quickly, so I'll tend to set that user number to number 1, so I can hit the macro hard key, hit 1, and hit enter, and recall that macro.
Yeah. For his specific situation, though, I usually just select the group when I make a macro that does the lamp on and off stuff. I just do it with the actual selecting the group, and it works just fine. So if I wanted to lamp off all my BMFLs, I would just do... usually way I've done it is I've selected BMFLs, right-click on locate, set my max to exclude intensity, and then locate them, and then ML menu, macros, lamp on or off, and then end the macro, or then you end it with after it's done running, clear, and it would work just fine. Of course, we can't virtually lamp off our capture fixtures, but we can just record the macro. So we did macro, record, we'll just throw it right here. So now if I select these, press and hold locate, set my mask, exclude intensity, locate, and then ML menu, macros, lamp off. Hit clear. Oh, I should have done that as real time instead of full speed. But we can see that it basically runs through it. But I should have done it as real time. So I do that all the time. I have a show where I have, 5 different fixture types, and I'll have it go through and do each fixture type individually, so my lamp off works correctly.
Totally, and you've got a bit of space there for your incoming mains to catch up with you lamping on plenty of fixtures as well, because if you lamp 100 fixtures on at once, stuff doesn't lamp on, it goes boom.
This is true. This is true.
James has jumped back in. When I was referring to modifying effects, so normal dimmer spread, size master. Ooh.
I'm just testing that very question out.
Oh, okay. I won't.
That's why I went quiet for a moment. I mean, go for it, because I was enjoying you being quiet, to be honest. Oh, I'm sure you.
Well, there's always that.
To carry on talking in that case.
With Jay's issue, I only slightly remember him telling me that. I think I told powers that be above about that it existed. But what was it? If we select the fixtures, then we do fixture +1, and then was it the add button to just freeze the attribute?
Yeah.
And then we clear out of it. Oops.
But if you think you have found an issue, then get it up on the website, get a help desk ticket in, because then plenty of people can look at it.
Yeah,
I can repeat it. It just doesn't go to unfreeze when that way. But of course, you can always just go into the patch menu and unfreeze it from there.
That's cool. The boys can have a look at that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I set it up. I sent it to them already once. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those quirks that it gets a little silliness. But yeah, I sent that up the line and then promptly forgot about it because I sent it up the line. Not my problem anymore.
No, you have us to deal with now.
Right, quite. Getting back to James. So, for example, you have a normal dimmer effect spread set to size master. If the master is pushed to 400 or 600, turns that dimmer spread into a dimmer chase.
So I'm just having a look at that. I mean, it might be the fact that I'm on internal capture on my own, but I can't see a lot of change pushing that beyond 100% intensity. I mean, you might make something explode. Trying to send out 1,000% output.
Not sure that's quite how it works, but we can pretend if you want.
Yeah, all right. I might
explode.
explode.
And we'll throw a locate on them. And then we'll do shapes and effects, shape generator, create, dimmer. And we'll say doing a dimmer, just dimmer spread. So we'll do dimmer spread. We'll set their intensity to 50. There we go. And then find a blank. Here, just replace.
Oh, I like the next question we've got coming up with Phil. Already preparing for Christmas.
Oh, no. Oops. Hit clear. Yeah, I'm not really seeing exactly what he means by it either. Guess you'll have to show us sometime, James.
Sure.
So what was the switch back over to here?
So Phillips just asks, can you show us like a twinkling dimmer effect from the pixel mapper, or a raining light kind of effect?
Yeah, I would probably do that with I'd probably do that something with the pixel mapper. So if we do our BMFLs and we go to Shapes and Effects, Pixel Mapper, Create. Why the heck is that turned off? There we go. Oh, am I glad I'm not looking at the screen again?
Oh, 100%.
I don't know what you two are talking about. I mean, perfectly well behaved.
Absolutely not.
Obediently waiting for questions that should be coming in, but they seem to be dribbling in.
I think they're just waiting for us to continually abuse Cade.
I believe so too. I believe so too at this point.
You know, we're totally fine to do if you really, really want us to.
God. I tell you, with friends like you.
We need enemies.
Go faster.
Exactly.
So I think it's an last one that I can do on the fly as well.
That's kind of a silly one there, but also if we change the fixture order up here, we could get or the fixture layout, we could get a little bit more randomized with that also. So if we did Then edit group layout here. Oops, select one at a time. Put you over there. Put you over there. You. I don't want to select all of you at once.
Obviously, there's far too many questions. Come at us. Throw them at us.
Right.
Keep them coming. Totally. There's one about set lists that I just answered from Elliot there, who said, is it possible to have 2 instances off of a set list at the same time? And you can have as many set lists as you want inside the set list window, but you can only have one set list window as a whole. So sadly, I can only partly say yes, because you could have a couple of different set lists on your show. You could have first half, second half, in between, warm-up act, whatever it might be. But you could only open up that window once. But recording a custom workspace inside the set list rather than in the track, you could customize it and you could move it around based on how many tracks that are in that particular set list. If you've only got 3 tracks in that set list, there's no massive point in it taking up a whole screen. So as soon as you fire that track, or as soon as you go into that set list, you could drop the set list window down to just the bottom half of the screen, leaving you some more screen real estate to fill up with the rest of them.
Absolutely. Again, using lots and lots of custom workspaces, never be afraid of that, because that's kind of one of the great USPs of Titan, is you have that really nice flexibility to change your layouts, change your windows, change how you want the console to look and behave for you on the fly.
Yeah.
So go for it.
Philip, if you take a look at what I made right there, that's how you can get it. Just muck about with your fixture order and your fixture layout, and you can easily make it a randomized, quote unquote, randomized twinkle there. And obviously, I can slow that way the heck down instead of having that super fast speed. On
you can get your spawn random. You can get your speed random as well. There's one show that I used to program that have like, I think it's 46, 47 pixel patterns dotted around the place. And I had a tiny little block that was set as a linear movement action and as a rotation, and it had motion blur on it. And every option that I could find in the pixel mapper that said random, I was making it random. And it seemed a little bit weird when I was looking at it on the console, but looking at it out of the lights, it looked really, really tidy.
Experimentation, man, that's the way forward. Be creative. Mess with stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Something a little funky there.
Messing with things is good.
How can you mess up patching 4 fixtures? That one, Ollie's got me on that one.
Depends how much we want to break Cade's brain. How could we mess up patching 4 fixtures?
The wrong addresses, wrong modes, things like that. But other than that, it's not that hard, I want to say. Of course, I say that, and well, as we all know, we can break everything if we want. That's the Wrong Capture Show.
Sam's specialty some days. It's my specialty other days. Between us, we've got the dream team.
That's the reason the pair of us exist, isn't it? We are there to break.
Yes.
And make pre-shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, somebody drink. He's changed screens.
He did change screens.
Oh no, he's changed back. Somebody drink again.
That's a cheeky shot, that is.
I was trying to put up the right capture show, or put up things up on capture, and I had the wrong show on. So it was a wrong show, I guess. Wrong show. Drink. Yay! Why not?
Oh God. Ollie has just basically asked about the set list window. So I guess, do we want to sort of wrap up with just a little bit of a quick rundown on that to close out tonight?
Go for it. It's about that time.
Yeah, why not? Why not? So, exit everything got going on over here, and then
I think Gordon and I, and probably Cade as well, have seen the sort of the rise of the set list.
Yes,
and it's becoming such a useful and effective way of getting your shows nicely sorted out, nicely worked out in a manner that sort of makes sense in your brains.
Yeah, it's probably a terrible show to use it on because there's hardly anything programmed on it. I also will be doing a day on set list one of these days. This was one of my last classes that are currently planned.
That's fun because you can start chucking some macros and chucking all kinds of stuff in there.
Right. So if we do open workspace window, we still got set list typed in there, so we type in, bring it up, make it a little larger, it'll be able to see a little better. Is with you guys start on. I've heard my own spiel about set list. I want to hear yours. So you go, Sam. Let's hear Sam's set list spiel.
Oh, do I have to do set list? Right, hold on.
Oh, yes, you do. And I'll hit the buttons.
Oh, okay. Let's have a look. I guess the easiest way to start out, if you have a look up in that top right-hand corner, you have your big plus list button, and that's going to give you your option to build your set lists from however you like, be that completely a blank space, be that the fact that you've spent the last 4 hours of your life programming every page on your console with a load of playbacks and cue lists and all bits and pieces that you want to have a play with. All of those options are there, and you can then build your set list from that. So I guess if you've got stuff on pages, we'll go with pages. I'm loving the latency here. It's beautiful.
Well, you just keep talking and I'll just keep clicking.
I guess I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll keep going. So now you've got what is essentially a list of tracks, if you want to call it that way, and each of those tracks gets given a page, and you can see there's your little play icon next to each track, and you can grab hold of that, and that will jump you to the correct page of whatever you want to then happen to work on. And that's kind of the basis for building these set lists up. Now you've got your 3 tracks. You can see there, we can start adding bits of information into each of those tracks. So, for example, you might want to go and have a specific workspace open when you're running track 2, for example. And if you look down in the bottom right of this workspace, you can see there is a plus workspace button there. And if you so desire, you could say, right, in track 2, I want to open up the groups and palettes window. And from your workspaces box, which you've got on your Titan Go interface in the left-hand corner of the screen, you can grab whichever workspace you like, or you can use Soft-Key A to record whatever workspace you fancy that's currently on the screen. So if Cade tabs over to that workspace and macros thing, you can see in track 2, we've got groups and palettes as an available workspace for track 2. So if you press this play on track 2, we will jump out of that set list view and we will end up in whichever workspace we've picked, which happens to be that one. Oh, man.
This is fun for me. I hope you know this is fun for me now. It's not your brain is broken, my friend.
I should not have put my team's view on my larger television, because now all I can see is SpongeBob.
This is what you get for having a large television.
It's true. Should we dive back into that set list window? Yep, lovely. And as well as being able to jump to specific workspaces, being able to jump to specific tracks and pages within that set list, you can also add things like notes with that little AB cursor icon in the bottom right. If you ever want to say the singer is crap in track 3, you just remind yourself or your other operator, go right ahead and do that. You can also add in dedicated macros per set list and per track, and that has its own little button down next to that AB cursor. It says plus macro. And you can add loads and loads of macros, ones you build yourself, ones that are already in the console, depending on what you want them to do. I know Gordon has a few that he quite likes to throw in on set lists, so I might just tag him in to tell us his favourites.
Oh, challenge. I use the set list as like my final process of slimlining and streamlining my shows. Certainly before I take them out on tour or anywhere with a tight get in. So if I know the tracks and it's 3 tracks, I won't necessarily worry about making a set list. But things like ballads, I'll put a really wide palette overlap on it, and I'll put a nice slow palette fade time, so that I can still hit stuff as quickly as I want and my show looks nice and smooth. I'll connect to cue lists, and quite often I'll have 1 or 2 tracks out of the set list firing the first playback on that page as well, because that's kind of a useful one if you're just making your basic look and then getting fancier and building effects on from there. Just as soon as you hit play on that track, it can release all the other playbacks if you want, or it can leave them there. It can fire that first playback, or it can not. It's up to you.
There's a load of useful macros. I know recently I've seen a lot of people using release all held over when they're jumping between tracks. That's quite a nice little one.
Mm-hmm. Version 13 of Titan got another 20 macros added to the default show library as well. So if anyone's kind of vaguely used to them and not used them inside version 13, it's definitely worth upgrading, because some of those ones that are particularly useful.
Yeah, they're definitely coming along. Ollie just added in, can I make a track and then add a page to it? Yep, is the answer to that.
Yes. So if we go to reopen up set list window, sorry. So we'll just plus track, and then we'll leave a track 4 because I'm way too lazy to type anything new. Then we can then change the page. We can then change the page number, correct? Oh golly.
Personal preference for me is to just be on the page I want to be on.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if we can change it like that.
Can't remember off the top of my head. Try it. It's not super strictly the way I would do it. There's the edit track button there.
Yeah, that's why I was trying that. Edit track.
Edit track and then move your playbacks to the correct page that you want to be in there, I believe. So you play on one, context menu to edit it, and then as soon as you're done, you can record snapshot on that top soft key.
Okay, yeah. Yes, then you get the option between workspace and record the workspace with the playback page. In this case, we want the playback page, and there we go. It changed to 14 from 7.
Bosh.
All over it.
Nice.
So there we go. We're a team. Yay, team. Yeah. It took all of us.
It's 10 o'clock on a Wednesday for us in the UK right now.
Right. So, if we got one, we'll do one more quick question. If you guys get it up there in the next minute or two, otherwise we're going to go ahead and call this one a day of absolute silliness. But it's definitely been a good time here in the Mission Control. So here's how I'll know when the video is caught up. When I see the screen switch, I'll make sure that we're all the way caught up. So I'll let the screen switch here. And it looks like no one else has gotten a question up to this point, so we will call it a day. Thank you, Sam and Gordon, for coming and helping out with us today. It definitely made for a fun video, to say the least. As always, everybody, you can keep a track of what we're going to do in these classes on these pages here, Avolite Online Resources. You can find where you can find stuff being done by Gordon, and hopefully Sam will be picking up some new ones soon. You can specifically find my ones on the avolites.us site, and of course we'll upload this one in low res, because I again forgot to hit start recording because I was having too many laughs when we got started. So it'll be low res, but we will upload this one to the Avolites USA YouTube page there, and you guys can review the again, utter silliness that was today. So, thank you everybody for coming out, and we'll see you too. Heck, what the heck am I doing tomorrow? I might want to check that out, huh? What are we doing tomorrow? Golly, see here, we'll put that up and.
Don't forget, if you haven't already been on avolites.com/online resources, you can download version 11.4 and AI version 10 to have a play along with us. It's not just us doing live streams. We've got Aaron from the AI team, and I believe Ruben over in the US is doing some live streams as well. So if you haven't already tuned in, jump on, have a look at those. We're doing loads and loads of stuff at the moment.
Yeah. So in here, we also... tomorrow is going to be blind mode, scene master, and key profiles. I know we went through blind and scene master a little bit the other day, but we'll get further. We'll play with it a little longer tomorrow. So with that, everyone, again, thank you for coming out, and see you guys next time.
Bye, Eggs.
Bye.
Wheel stop. Roger, wheel stop, Discovery. Welcome back. A great ending to the new beginning.